Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Apex Hour podcast. Yes, I finally found a name for it after a lot of thinking. Actually, I was between the Apex Hour and Wheels and Whispers, but then I was like, Wheels and Whispers is kind of cliche, so the Apex Hour it is. Oh my god, I forgot to introduce myself. Hello, my name is Noelle Girardi, and I am the host of this podcast. So, I think we should just get right into it. So, I think one of the biggest things in motorsport going on right now is that F1 Academy is now being live streamed. So, okay, here's the thing. As a woman into motorsports, I can tell you I love what F1 Academy is trying to achieve. I love the idea of getting more women into motorsports. I love everything it stands for. But, okay, here's the thing. I go to YouTube, I click it, I'm watching it, and first of all, I'm confused. I have no idea what's going on. I don't know any of the drivers. I don't know any of the rules, and it wouldn't be that bad if F1 Academy was similar to Formula 1, but when I tell you, I looked up the rules, and it was, beyond confusing. I mean, there's, 2 qualifying sessions, 3 races, reverse grid? I had no idea. And I'm a person that understands things easily. You'll explain it well to me, and boom, I get it. But dude, I have no idea what's going on. And that's the thing, is that why are you going to stick with a racing league where you don't even know the rules? And that's the thing, is they push it so hard. It's support these women, support Formula 1 Academy, but, they don't tell you how it works. So once again, why would you stick with something where you don't know, anything that's going on? And actually, I do know one driver. I know Bianca, but that's because she signed with McLaren, and that was, the only thing that I knew. But, yeah, I was beyond, confused the entire time watching it, and, 3 qualifying, I had no idea. But, so that's just my take on that. If you're gonna push so hard, watch these women, support these women, then you kind of have to, market it a bit better, you have to make everybody aware of how it works. You have to, one of the things that Formula 1 does great is it humanizes their drivers. It makes you more familiar with the drivers, so that whenever you're watching a race, it's not just that's Charles Leclerc in third. It's no, that's Charles Leclerc, the that's just an incident guy. It's Carlos Sainz, the guy who pronounces Mariah Carey, Maria Carey. It's Lando Norris, who hates seafood. You have to humanize the drivers and make people connect with them. That way it's more entertaining, because you're actually supporting people that you like. Sorry, my dog wants to go back in. Let me open the door for her. But yeah, and with F1 Academy, I don't know any of these girls besides Bianca, but I only know her by name. So yeah, that's something that I think they need to work on, and I think that's something that they're going to work towards. And once they do make everything clearer, I will definitely be watching it, and definitely be rooting for a bunch of for women. Next, so the Austin Grand Prix just happened, and boy, a lot happened, let's just say. So the entire time, basically, the top 3 basically, were battling. You had Max, who slowly climbed up the ranks. We had Lewis, who had first place and then dropped down a little bit, but managed to pull back up to second. well. We'll talk about that later. And then we had Lando Norris, who he had great pace, kept going with it. We had Carlos Sainz, once again, great pace as well, better than in quali. We had Checo. He was pretty good. I honestly wasn't really paying attention. But I mean, other than that top half of the race, you know, the mid part was a bit boring, you know, like nothing was really going on between like Alfa Romeo, Haas, like nothing was really happening between them. Yuki Tsunoda, actually, he was great. He finally scored some more points after a tough battle with all of the Aston Martins. Fernando Alonso had to DNF, though, if you didn't know. I actually don't know what the problem was. Was it something with the brakes overheating or something? I don't know. Actually, in, like, literally the start of the race, or near the start, Esteban Ocon on Alpine, he hit Oscar Piastri, the McLaren, and he had to DNF. And then Oscar had to DNF because his radiator was broken. So, yeah, three DNFs. Esteban actually holds the record in 2023 for the most DNFs, so that DNF definitely didn't help that. But yeah, so right after the race, the standings were Max first, Lewis second, Lando third, Carlos fourth, I think, was it? Checo fifth, and then Charles Leclerc sixth. But, okay, so for you new Formula One fans, so the FIA sometimes, they'll pick cars and they'll do, like, technical, like, checks on them to make sure that their cars are compliant with the rules and regulations. So they chose, I think it was Charles, Lewis, Max, and Lando. I think it may have been more, it may have been less, I don't know. But point is, they checked the plank, the skids under Lewis and Charles' car, and they found that, you know, it was looking a little sketchy. The planks were looking a little sketchy. So they said that to the stewards, and they looked into it more. And, like, at 9 o'clock in Georgia time, they announced that Lewis and Charles were disqualified. And, you know, I'm not a Mercedes fan, but seeing Lewis fight so hard for second and then getting, you know, just disqualified, that just, like, hurts me a little bit, because, you know, he hasn't got a win. I mean, second place isn't a win, but it's pretty close. He hasn't gotten a win since 2021, and, you know, I think he really wanted this one in Austin. I mean, he's won 5 times in Austin. I think he really wanted this next one. And Charles, man, here's a hot take, something you may not agree with me with, but for me, Charles' talent is being wasted at Ferrari. I mean, this strategy that they had implemented to use on him during Austin, it totally screwed him over. I mean, first you have awful strategy, and then you have the car wasn't, I mean, obviously something wasn't quite right, because he had no pace. It was embarrassing, honestly. No pace, no strategy, finished 6th from pole position. I mean, think about that. You start in pole position, you drop down to 6th, because your car isn't, like, because your pace and your strategy is awful, only to get disqualified at the end of all that. That's a joke, and that's embarrassing, and I think that he would be better off on another team. But when you think about it, I think the only team that Charles would go to, would, like, accept a contract for, would be Mercedes or Red Bull. And Mercedes, you know, they have contracts till, what is it, like 2025 or 2026, one of the two. And Red Bull, Max is keeping the seat, obviously. We all know Horner's not getting rid of him. Checo's seat, however, yeah, you know what? Let's shift our focus to Checo. He won 2 races at the start of the season. Great, amazing. except okay, how to put this? Okay, so Max, people say that Max has been winning every race because of the car, because the car is a rocket ship. And yeah, I agree, except you see two drivers in virtually the same machinery, like slight changes. But you see two drivers in virtually the same machinery, and you see Max getting first every single time. And if the machinery was really that good, then Checo would be getting second every single time. But as we can see, it's obviously not. I mean, he finished he qualified awful, honestly, for a Red Bull driver, and he just hasn't been keeping up with the expectations that Red Bull wants. And once again, if the machinery, if it really was just the car, then he would be getting second every time. But we don't see that. And that's just because, hate me for it, Max is a better driver. And, Checo, he's just, I don't know, he's losing his touch, man. And, they're saying, they're giving him an ultimatum. They're saying if you continue to give us poor results, then we're going to replace you with Daniel Ricciardo. And here's the thing. I have nothing against Daniel Ricciardo. I think that in 2018, he was one of the best drivers on the grid. I mean, his win in Monaco, his last win, that was certainly a win. He gave his all. He, tried his best, and he won, and then he left Red Bull, which I think was a huge mistake. And ever since he left Red Bull, we can see that his results haven't been the same ever since. I mean, when he went to Renault, nothing that compared to him at Red Bull. When he went to McLaren, he just couldn't find pace in the car. He just wasn't delivering. And even now in AlphaTauri, just this weekend, honestly, in Austin, we saw him in 17th with 3 DNFs, so virtually last place. And, AlphaTauri is a subcategory of Red Bull. Their cars are supposed to be basically, they're supposed to be the second best on the grid. That's debatable, obviously. Not anymore. But, at Toro Rosso, what the hell? I just pronounced that so weird. But, back in those days, they basically had a car that would be fit for a future Red Bull driver. And for me, with the whole Liam Lawson and Daniel Ricciardo thing, once again, hate me for it. My personal opinion is Liam Lawson should have gotten that seat. The purpose of AlphaTauri is to bring in rookies who may be fit to have a seat at Red Bull, which is the upper team. And as we can see, once again, Daniel Ricciardo is definitely not a rookie. He's one of the most experienced drivers on the grid. And he just hasn't been delivering in that car. And, you can say, oh, it's just the car's crappy. But, you see Yuki Tsunoda over here putting the car in P8, into the points. Daniel Ricciardo scored 0 points, basically, which it's embarrassing, and he's just not delivering. And I think when people look at him, they still see the 2018 Daniel Ricciardo, and that's great for you. But at a certain point, you have to realize he's not young anymore. He's not who he used to be. He's changed. He's changed as a driver, and he hasn't been delivering. And Liam Lawson and even Nick, who got kicked out because Daniel Ricciardo took his seat, took his seat is very strong. We're going to say received his seat, because I did not mean to sound like what's the word for it? I didn't mean to sound like I have something against him, but no. But once again, Liam Lawson was delivering, honestly, arguably even more so than Yuki. And I think that they should have taken a rookie over someone who's been racing for a really long time. And, on the topic of Nick, dude, like, every single time I see his, like, first, like, day of the F1 season, the poster, and he says, like, this season I will live my dream. That just makes me so sad every time I see it. I know he's racing in Formula E, but that's different. Formula E, actually, let's talk about that for a second. I know nothing about Formula E. There's female drivers in Formula E, I think. I've heard of one. I forget what her name is, but Formula E is like, somebody fact check this. Is it like electric racing? Like instead of gas, or it's electric, right? I think. But yeah, at least Nick is racing Formula E, so he's not all lost. Speaking of being lost and decisions, today, actually, I was watching an episode of Drive to Survive with one of my friends. It was actually the season 3, episode 9. Okay, if you haven't watched, like, gotten that far yet, just skip over this part, because spoiler alerts. So basically, Romain Grosjean, he crashed. Any Formula 1 fan knows this. He crashed, his car split into, the part that he was in just erupted into fire. Everybody was thinking, oh, he's dead. There's no way he's making it out. He made it out. And at the end, or, like, not at the end, but, like, in an interview with him, he was saying, like, yeah, like, basically, I'm going to stop racing Formula 1 because, I've already almost died, and it was, like, it's a sign, I want to preserve my life for my children, and my wife, and he retired, or stopped racing, basically, but then guess what? He joined IndyCar, which is, I guess, arguably, I don't claim this, but which is arguably more dangerous than Formula 1. So, yeah, just a little questionable decision right there, but, yeah. Love you, Grosjean. I thought he was a great driver. Once again, Drive to Survive just really, like, it made him seem like he wasn't that good of a driver, when really, I mean, like, in 2015, 2016, you have him I can't talk, podiuming, he was a great driver. Also, like, Nico Hülkenberg, in Drive to Survive, it made him seem like this podiumless, bad driver, when really, I mean, he's a Le Mans winner. Honestly, he might not be showing in Formula 1, but he is a great driver, and, Drive to Survive just fails to convey that. So, if you're new and watching Formula 1, or, like, trying to get into it, and trying to, like, learn the history behind it, once again, don't try and learn that through Drive to Survive, because it makes up it makes up rivalries, it pits drivers against each other, or, like, makes it seem like they like, hated each other, or, they had something against each other, so it's just not accurate. Netflix warps it to make it more entertaining for the viewers. Oh my god, the next season of Drive to Survive, for the 2023 season, that's gonna be insane. I mean, oh my god, that one shot at the Qatar Grand Prix, where, like, Lewis is walking, like, slow motion after he crashed with George Russell. Yeah, they are using that. They're using that clip over and over again. I can guarantee it. Yeah. Oh my god, speaking of which, this isn't, like, about the Austin Grand Prix or anything. This is just about me personally. So, one of my friends, actually, she told her dad that I was a fan of Formula 1. I don't know why. I don't know why she was talking about me, but she told her dad that, and then she comes to school the next day and tells me my dad said that he would rather sit in front of the laundry and watch the clothes go around in circles rather than watch cars go around in circles for 2 hours. And I was like, that is so uncalled for. Like, wow. Okay. And, like, okay, I watch Formula One because I like it and it makes me happy. But I don't know, like, why do I like Formula One? Like, I genuinely don't know why I like Formula One. I mean, like, I love the cars, I love aerodynamics, I love everything about it, but, like, why? I genuinely don't know, but, whatever, it makes me happy, and that should be answer enough. I completely got off topic. I did not tell you guys why Leclerc and Hamilton got disqualified. Well, I did, but not, like, the specifics. So, the stewards took into account what the technical team had sent in, and they declared that Hamilton and Leclerc had violated article, I think it was like 3.5.9, which said that the plank must be 10 millimeters minus or plus 0.2 millimeters, with an exception of 9 millimeters if, like, because of wear during racing. And their planks weren't compliant with that. And so for new Formula One fans, a plank is like a wood board, or just like a plank, obviously, underneath a Formula One car, and its purpose is to put distance between the car and the ground. And the reason why it's so important, okay, there's two reasons why not being too close to the ground is important. The first one is for safety reasons. So obviously it doesn't just have to do with the car being close to the ground. There's other factors in it. For example, the Venturi effect, where they manipulated air underneath the car with, like, side pod things. It's you know what? It's aerodynamics. God, I can't talk. I'll just explain it in, like, dumb terms. So the reason why you don't want to be close to the ground is for two reasons. One is for safety reasons. If you're too close to the ground, you have a potential risk of losing all of your downforce and crashing. And that is especially concerning, because when you're closer to the ground, it allows you to go faster during turns, which is something that you want. But if you lose all of your downforce in the middle of a turn, you're going flying into a wall, and you could crash. In fact, Senna, one of the most famous drivers in Formula One, if you're not familiar with him, he crashed, and and the Venturi effect, or being too close to the ground, was suspected to be a reason of that. So after his death, they heavily modified the rules and regulations on that. The Venturi thing was banned, but they actually, like, brought back a lot of the ground effect, which, reason number two for why you can't be too close to the ground is because it gives you an advantage. As I said before, being close to the ground allows you to go faster during turns. And the reason why is because when you're close to the ground and you have, like, the Venturi, it does something called the ground effect, where the air, how do I explain this? So basically, air is going under the Formula One car, right? And as it's going through, basically under the car, they, like, squish it, like, a little bit, like, tighter. That way the air, when it hits the middle of the bottom of the car, like, the air is, like, going through faster. And basically, with the side wings and everything, it keeps the air underneath. And it basically sucks the car closer to the ground, giving you more downforce, which is obviously dangerous once again, because if, like, the side wing things, if they lift up, or if something happens to the back and all of that air just immediately rushes out, then you could suddenly lose all of your downforce, which is dangerous, especially when you're driving fast. I did not explain that well at all. Very sorry about that. But yeah, hopefully you got maybe a little bit of it. But basically, main points. Plank separates, it puts distance between the car and the ground. You don't want the car close to the ground because you could lose all your downforce and die, and it gives you an advantage. The advantage being it sucks the car closer to the ground and lets you go faster. So there we go. And basically, Hamilton and Leclerc's planks were not compliant with Article 3.5.9, and as a result, they were eliminated. Once again, Charles, already having a crappy day, had it even crappier, especially when, like, his, like, lawyer thing was just, like, vaping before he was supposed to defend them. So he obviously didn't have much hope for himself. But yeah, that's really all of my piece on Formula One, in this podcast. I think that I will upload maybe twice a week. Yes, no, maybe so. Twice or 3 times a week. Because honestly, I just, something's always happening in Formula One. And, this time we don't have, 2 weeks in between races. This week we have 3, I think it's 3 straight races. We have Mexico coming up, which really, really excited to see Checo on his home track. Speaking of Checo, it was completely unacceptable for the fans to be booing Max and chanting for Checo while he was on the podium. I mean, during his national anthem is crazy. But yeah, back to what I was saying. We basically have 2 straight races after this. We have Mexico this week, and then next week we have Brazil, and then the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Las Vegas Grand Prix is, what is it? It's November 16th, I think. It is when all of the events start. And then we have the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, which starts November 24th. Fun fact, that's my birthday, so really excited about that. I'm actually going to be in Taiwan when that happens, so I have no idea what the time difference is going to be. I don't know how early or late I'm going to have to wake up, but we'll see, because I will not miss that race for the world. Something entertaining always happens in Abu Dhabi, so I'm trusting it won't let me down. And yeah, that's really my piece. The Apex Hour podcast wasn't really an hour. It was more like 28 minutes. But I hope that you enjoyed listening to me just ramble and mispronounce words all the time and stutter. But yeah, if you enjoyed this podcast and listened to it all the way, then please subscribe. I would love that. You can if you want. Yeah, that's it. I hope you all have a lovely day.